Hello and welcome to this Accomplished Beginner's Blender tutorial number 25. In this tutorial we will introduce ourselves to the use of text. I want to use this cube as a platform to put the text on. I'll press N so I get this transform panel here, and I'll just change the location of this cube to -1, and then I'll do S Shift Z 10 to scale it out so I have a platform. And then I press 7 to look at this from the top and 5 to be an orthogonal view. Then Shift A and left click on text. Now we have a text object. I would like to look at this from the front, so I'll press 1 and then I press RX90 to rotate the text around so I can look at it from the front. And to edit the text, you can just press Tab to go into edit mode, or down here, and you pretty much type away, create your text here, just like that. And I'll go over to object mode by pressing Tab, and I think I would like to change the transform by put the geometry origin to a geometry, so it's like right in the middle of this. And we'll look at what happens when you choose the font tab here, and how you changed your center or left or right justify. So that changes the position of the text relative to the origin. And let's just look at this right now. I'll press 1 to look at it from the front, and I'll pull the camera down, press 0 to look through the camera, and the RXX to rotate it around the local x-axis. And then we can press F12 to render it, and it looks black because there's no illumination on that side. So we'll press 7 and move that light over, and press F12 again, and then it looks gray like this. Let's select the text object again, and you can change things such as character spacing and word spacing and line spacing. To actually see that, would have to select this cube and grab X -2. No, grab Z -2. That's what I wanted. And let's just press Tab to go into edit mode and press the Enter key to have a new line. And then if you change the line spacing, you can see what happens. So I'll just remove that line and change the line spacing back to 1. And here you can see when I changed the origin, then that changed the offset. So if I do the offset to 0 and 0 again, then and I go back to object mode, then the origin is back at the very start of the line again. So now we know how to create a text object, now to edit it, and how we can make some minor changes to it, or just change some of the typographical features. And of course these are 3D objects, right? We would like them to look a little bit more flashed out maybe. So I'll change the camera, or choose the camera here, and I'll rotate it around its Z-axis a little bit. and I'll push the floor up, grab Z2. And we can of course move or rotate RZ, for instance. Okay. You can RZ, you can rotate the object around, or any of the other transform operations you can perform on other objects. You can perform that on text objects too. But now we want to make it thick, and that's done by extrude. 0.1 creates pretty thick text, and you can bevel it. 0.01. Then you get a beveled text, so you can shape the text in ways like this. And I would prefer to have a little bit less thick text, so 0.01 or 2. And I'll just keep that bevel like that. So now we can see it's a three-dimensional object, and if we press F12, it's obvious that it's, you know, in space like any other object. If you feel that you need another type of font, the way to make that happen is by changing your font here. You go to the fonts library or the fonts folder on your systems. In my case, it's under Windows fonts. I want to pick up Times, open font, and now this changed automatically to a Times font. I also want to pick up the bold and italic, and I will just have to do that for each. So there you go, the bold, and also for the italic. And in this case, we have also the bold italic available. Sometimes you might not have all the different styles of a font. You can change the size with this parameter. And to actually have, let's say, italic font, you would have to go in and edit this. So I'll just leave that like that, and I'll check the italic box here. Okay, I need to be in that window too. So that's italic space, and I can also add the bold text. So now it's bold and italic. I'll change it back to just bold, and then I could do bold. I could do small caps. Like that. So these are the different text features that exist. And another thing that we could do is to add materials to our text. So we'll just go to the Materials tab as usual. And I want to add a kind of beige material here. Lower the intensity and hardness a little bit. And let's render that, and you can see what that looks like. And you can see, of course, you know, that you have to take into account the fact that you have a baseline, and there are features of the text that could extrude down from that. But what I would like to do right now is to add some texture to this. So we have this beige material, and then I'll go into texture mode and add one, and I would like to use wood and use saw and band noise and change that to the size to 3. And change the color here to a brownish color. And we have something that looks a little bit like wood. So if I render that now, it looks like you have some wood cutouts. So those are some of the simple things you can do with text. And in a Blender topic, I'll deal with how you can shape your text strings a little bit more. But for just the basic use of text, just entering text and giving it materials and the fact that it renders just like anything else, I think this is sufficient. And another thing that you need to remember is this: if you remove the entire font object that you have here, then the loaded fonts will disappear. So you'll have to do that work again. So remember, if you want to keep that font active in your file, then don't remove the text object. We'll do that now as our final thing here. Move this over here, and I'll remove that texture thing there. We can render that again. And then you have that. And if I now just press delete and delete that, and I press Shift A and add a text object, press F, then my work of going and picking up those fonts is undone. RX90, so we're back to the basic font. So that's something to remember, that if you want to use a particular font, you need to retain at least one text object that has that for it to be possible to use throughout. So let's say we just do this. I'll add this times to that one. So now we have a times object, and if I create another one, Shift A and text, and then I can pick up let's say Georgia. Okay, that's not what I wanted. I can rotate X90. Press 1 to look at it from the front. Now we have these two different text objects, and this one has the Georgia font, and this has the New Romans font. So, and as soon as you delete your last text object that has that font active, then you'll have to reload it again. So that's something just to remember if you want to avoid that extra work. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was useful for you, and I thank you for viewing. And I talk to you soon. Thanks you. Bye.